hello, and welcome everyone to another installment of the comic multiverse where the worlds of nerds meet. It's Sunday night, Matt. We're back again. We're all together here on the channel doing a live show. All of our regulars are here, or most of them are certainly here. How have you been?
Pretty good, pretty good. I had a pretty good week last week, going for a great weekend, and yeah, it was pretty good. What about yourself?
Oh, time is a flat circle, and I'm
Yeah,
losing track of all of it. I could not believe that it was Sunday again. I'm like, no, it's impossible. It can't be Sunday. It's been WrestleMania weekend, so I've been trying to catch some of those shows. I'm not actually watching the main WrestleMania show, but I am watching a bunch of the more interesting indie stuff. AEW for another year in a row didn't actually run anything to to challenge it, which I guess is good.
hmm
They're just doing their thing, and I can appreciate that.
yeah.
So yeah, that's what I've been doing. Ooh, I watched an anime this week on the Netflix. I haven't watched an anime in 100 years, and because it was short, I got to watch the whole thing.
Yeah, you watched that House Husband one, the Yakuza
Yeah,
House
yeah.
Husband one.
Yeah, for those who don't know, Way of the House Husband, it's about a legendary Yakuza enforcer who leaves the group much in the same way John Wick left his underworld life to become a house husband, and he does all the remedial house chores with the same intensity frickin' Kazuma Kiryu would. And that's the joke. That's the joke. Not only is it incredibly short, and I don't know if the manga's like this, but it's all segments. It's all little tiny segments, and then a backup starring the cat in the house.
Okay.
And again, it's funny. And again, he meets other people in similar roles, like his ex-rival, works at a crepe truck, and instead of fighting it out with their fists, they just, have a crepe competition, and whoever gets more likes on Instagram wins.
That's great.
I'm like, that's a good bit. And then what is it? Another character, the boss lady, who's like your typical stereotype of like, a woman who rose to prominence in a Yakuza family because her husband died. Only, the Yakuza doesn't make as much money as it used to, so she just works at a grocery store now. But they still call her boss lady, and everyone treats her like that. I'm like, that's funny. That's a good bit.
That's great.
Again, it's a funny show, and again, I think it's only like 6 episodes with like 5-minute segments.
Nice.
So if you want something that's short and you'll feel fulfilled finishing, you can do that.
Nice. Thanks, Sonil, for the Prime
Yeah,
subscription.
yeah, boy. Another fun thing happened this week too. Obviously, of course, the this week was the finale for King in Black, the big long Venom centric story.
Uh-huh.
Oh, thank you to for Pat Senior, as always, big booster of the show.
Thank you.
Longtime fan of the show, Marvin, hooked you and me up, Matt. He gave us, the cool tattoos, the cool temporary tattoos that come with King in Black. This one is technically yours because I had to use mine. I had to use mine. Clearly, this was designed for someone with a much smaller forearm than me, and also because I had to put it on myself with a warm washcloth. It's a little off-center, but I don't think I look totally stupid with it.
Didn't we say if someone like donated like a heap of money, you'd like put it on your forehead or something?
Yeah, put it somewhere stupid, get like a dumb neck tattoo like Cody was. I wanted to put it on my neck, but as I discovered too soon, I got way too much beard to put a temporary tattoo on my neck.
Okay, put it on the lower of your back. It's a like tramp stamp.
Ah, there you go. I can be like old tramp stamp Hoyt. That guy who tried to fix it years later by putting like a whole crucifixion scene on his back. And it's like, oh yeah, that makes it look way better than something that looked like a 20-year-old college girl got it. Talk about going from extreme to extreme, my dude. What about you, Matt? What is your week entailed?
Not a lot. I've been trying to do as many comic reviews as I can. I've been working. In terms of like video games I've been playing, I haven't really been playing all that much. I've been playing my way through Demon's Souls.
Ah, cool.
On the PlayStation 5, yeah.
Nice. I finally took the plunge, got a new memory card for it, and finally got Breath of the Wild for the Switch.
Oh, nice.
I do not know what I was expecting because the last Legend of Zelda game I played was like Oracle of Seasons on the Game Boy.
Mm-hmm.
And wow, Breath of the Wild, it's a big game and it will kick your ass in the first couple hours.
Oh yeah, it will. You got to do those puzzles like dungeon things to get your health, get the little things to get the health bar up and get your stamina up.
Yeah, I just did the first shrine, and then it's like, okay, find the 3 other shrines. And I'm like, okay, this is actually a little harder than I seem, because I kept marking stuff that was further away off the map, because they put you on this little plateau to kind of teach you the ropes. And then it's like, okay, I'm up in the snowy mountains now. Oh, snow hurts you, huh? Oh, I need to find these peppers, and I need to roast the peppers so I don't die in the cold.
Yeah, I'm cold. And then when you go to the volcanic land, you need the special armor that'll let you survive in the lava.
Video games, man, am I right?
It's great. I really enjoyed the game.
Yeah, there's way more Witcher in it than I thought, where it's like, oh, enemies will kick your ass if you're not careful. You need to constantly be blocking and be on the move.
Yep. And your weapons break.
They do. That takes a lot of getting used to. Also, because my dumb Sony hands are so used to the Sony control scheme, where I'm like, change weapon, change thing. Why doesn't it automatically do this for me? What do you mean I got to do this on the fly? Which, again, makes combat really scary sometimes. To say nothing of those giant guardians that shoot lasers at you. Fuck that.
Yeah, they're very annoying.
Especially early on, I'm like, man, I'm going to come back in a couple levels. I say levels. You don't actually level up, which is interesting. I'll come back in a little bit and kick your ass, giant guardian. Which, man, what an interesting way to buck trends, too, for a video game. No. You don't level up. You just get better and get better items.
Yeah. I would technically say that, like, getting, like, the hearts is technically leveling up. But, yeah,
I guess
there is no, like, skill points or anything, yeah.
No, you just get better with all the tools we give you. That's pretty solid.
Yeah, wait till you get all the things that the Sheikah Slate allows you to do, like the bombs and like freezing things in time and whatnot.
I got the bombs. That's pretty good. I did the 3 temples. Now it's like, find the place where all of these shrines, converge on the map. I'm like, is it the Temple of Time? It looks like the Temple of Time. That's where I shut it off last night. That sounds important, the Temple of Time. And I guess on that note, we can hop into the news for this week, which there was a decent amount. Starting things off here, we got a little bit more Venom symbiote-centric news. Obviously, I mentioned before, King in Black came to an end this week, and we already know what the next follow-up is going to be. It's going to be Extreme Carnage from Philip Kennedy Johnson, who's just getting all the work. And we were right last week, Matt. We were 100% right when we said, man, I bet this mystery character is going to turn out to be Flash Agent Anti-Venom, and it was.
Yeah, well, when we were talking about that, obviously he Flash was turned into that dragon, and it's literally like exactly what happened with Carnage.
Yeah, and it's like, who else could it be? So, yeah. It's going to be him. He's going to be involved in this Extreme Carnage book, but also there's more. The other children of Venom are going to be getting their own special little one-shots, to which in my mind I'm like, okay, Venom has been great. The Web of Venoms have been great. Don't push your luck, Marvel, with too many symbiote stuff.
Yeah, no. Again, it kind of wasn't it like around this time when the Venom 2 movie was meant to come out? Yeah. So this is 100%. Probably all sort of like things they already had and they couldn't delay further. No, so like, we have to put this out now.
It's symbiote mania. You all want a piece of this, right?
Yeah.
It's like, I guess, maybe. I mean,
is it going to be as good as all the Donny Cates stuff? Maybe, probably not.
I guess we'll see, yeah. Come on, guys, we got all your favorites. Riot and Phage and Scream and Toxin and all the other ones.
So no one cares about that. Everyone just wants to read Flash Thompson again.
Everyone just wants their Flash Thompson. And probably Carnage, too, but those are, like, the 2 people want.
Yep.
And even then, I don't think Carnage can, like, hold up a whole solo series. Some pretty good minis, some pretty good, like, 12 issues, but that's about it.
Yeah.
I don't think you can, because again, that's the problem. He's a villain, and it's hard to write a villain for that long.
Yeah, it is.
It's really, really difficult. Unless,
especially a villain like Carnage, where like nothing about him is redeemable.
No, exactly. Completely irredeemable villain. Only wants to kill and destroy, and if he's not killing and destroying, it's like, what? You want to see Cletus Kasady go to the bank? You want to see him like make a sandwich? I don't think so. Honestly, that's kind of been my problem. We'll talk about that later with Crime Syndicate, actually. When it's just like, oh yeah, I guess you can't just make a story out of every villain, huh? because that becomes a problem. But yeah, so more gooey space symbiote goodness coming your way and to be dribbled in your ear soon.
Mm-hmm.
It is pretty nice to see Flash Thompson back, and that's like Kate's on his way out. Like, okay, I did everything I wanted, and I gave you back the guy you wanted.
Yeah, I reset everything.
Yep. Best way to end a series, honestly. And we'll talk more about that when we actually get into the what we read this week.
Yes, we will.
Moving on from there, we got more new comic news coming out of the House of Ideas. Marvel is launching 3 brand new X-Men books, Matt, because it's been a whole month without brand new X-Men books. Time to fix that.
Yep.
Obviously, of course, we got the Children of the Atom, which just came out. Way of X, that is coming out in April. That's going to be the Nightcrawler focused, like, you know, what if Krakoa started its own religion, which sounds very interesting.
It does, it does.
X-Corp from Teenie Howard. This is going to be the Angel-led, like, okay, let's actually take a look into how Krakoa makes its money and the corporation. What is it that makes all their life-saving medicine? No doubt this is going to be like a corporate espionage book.
Book I'm very excited for.
Absolutely. We got the big Hellfire Gala event, which I didn't even know if it was going to be an event. I just thought it was going to be a story, but they're like, no, it's an event.
Yeah, it's a Hellfire Club. They got to do things big.
Got to do it big, go big or go home, Big Willie style. Man, the costumes they had for Hellfire Gala are actually pretty goddamn cool, right?
They're pretty cool, yeah.
Like, look, we know all you young millennials out there love the RuPaul and love your fashion shows and everything. Well, let's just go high fashion with the X-Men. I'm like, it makes sense, it tracks.
Yeah.
But wait, there's more. We have 3 brand new titles. We have one that we actually know that's just called X-Men, and it's going to be written by Jerry Duggan of Marauders fame and drawn by Pepe Larsa. I'm sure lots of people are thinking, like, wait, why are we restarting X-Men again? Didn't we just do it? Yeah, we did, but this is going to be the new team that all got selected, so this is a fresh start for the new Krakoan team.
Yes, so yeah, it's basically a reboot.
It's a reboot, essentially. Hey, if you weren't reading that other Hickman one, you can probably come in here if you want.
Mm-hmm.
I do love they gave it to Duggan because I think Marauders is probably one of the most slept on books.
Yeah, no, it's great he's got that book.
Also, good for him, too, that they're putting him on a big AAA title. As I've said before, Duggan is so good. He's such a consistent workman in the world of comics, yet they only ever seem to give him, like, the leftovers and, like, well, you know, we'll give you this one to see. I'm glad to see he finally gets to lead and that everyone else in the X-Men office of writers was like, no, he should have the flagship.
Absolutely.
So that's the one we know about. Then there's 2 we don't know about. One is just called Classified, coming out in August, and this is Lee Williams and Valerio Schmidt. I don't quite know how to pronounce it.
Yeah.
Sheety, like Ali Sheety.
Yeah, I hope this is the orgy book.
Yeah, with Lee Williams attached to it. Yeah, goddamn.
Yeah.
Krakoa After Dark, the XXX-Men. Seriously, this shit writes itself. Yeah, no idea what this book could be, because we're getting to the point now where it's like, there's a book for everything. Yeah,
well, I have to imagine we're also getting to the point where we've got to come back to, like, all the stuff that Hickman built up in that first year, like the Moira McTaggart stuff, the Chimera stuff, like all of that stuff, which has been kind of left off the board for the most part.
A little bit, yeah. Wouldn't it be interesting if this one's like, okay, this is an Orchis book, or this is a Brotherhood of Evil Mutants book?
That'd be pretty cool.
Ooh, a Mystique book, because Mystique is really important, and they've said, like, yeah, she's the one that could bring this all tumbling down.
That could be good. It could be a Children of the Vault book.
Yeah, that's an option, yeah, because as we saw, the children kind of spliced themselves with mutant DNA, so they could become a bigger issue.
Mm-hmm.
Also serves as an opportunity to launch them.
Yep.
Is a solo series. Hey, could be a Starjammers thing. I know Sword is kind of their space X-Men book right now, but that still doesn't mean they couldn't have, like, space fantasy as opposed to, like, hard science fiction.
Yeah, I could see that.
Again, too, it gives a chance to bring back all the Cyclops Summer Family adjacent characters.
Absolutely.
Be a cool pirate book and everything. Maybe cross over with all the stuff that's happening in Guardians right now.
Mm-hmm.
And then finally, we have a Jonathan Hickman book that is just a question mark, and even the artist is redacted.
That's really strange, because usually it's the other way around, where, like, you get to know the artist but not the writer. That's very strange. I wonder who that could be. I wonder if it might be John Romita Jr., because he's back at Marvel now.
That's right. Yeah, because assumedly it's got to be someone huge. It's got to be an artist where you're like, what?
Yeah.
Like Alex Ross. Alex Ross is going to be
Oh,
drawn
that'd be
like
awesome.
every page of it. Because yeah, this is like got to be a AAA like knock your socks off name, and it's getting to the point now in comics where it's like, well, how many truly knock your socks off artists are there?
You know who it also could be? I don't think it will be, but it'd be pretty awesome. It will bring things full circle. It's Jim Lee.
Oh fuck yeah, man!
That'd be pretty cool.
That would be a steal and a half. Like, oh yeah, we got him back. Well, again, ties into the thing. They're saying at DC they're not doing exclusive contracts anymore, and if they're not doing exclusive contracts anymore,
but then also like Jim Lee, isn't he like kind of sort of in charge at the moment? Like he's got a very high role there. Yeah, it's very up in the air, but I'm pretty sure he's pretty up there. And yeah, but I could see that as maybe like them working together, like the first step of them working together.
That would be huge because it's like, yeah, maybe there is hope for DC and Marvel to work together because, again, they're not under Diamond anymore. It's like it's a brave new world now filled with new ideas and new everything.
Yeah, it has to be someone big.
It's got to be someone like massive. It's got to be like, no way, they got so-and-so.
Yeah, it's actually just like someone we've never even heard of.
Could be that too. And again, they're just trying to like build up more hype for it. But yeah, 3 new X-Men books coming down. Well, technically 2 new and 1 just getting a fresh coat of paint. But yeah, coming down the pipeline in late summer, early September there. Because, Lord knows they haven't announced any new X-Men books in a bit.
It's been a while. It's been a couple of days.
It's easy to make fun, but it's just like, most of them are like really good, and like there's an X-Men book for every taste right now, so you like literally can't lose.
That's what I find so frustrating about them, because I'm like, I want to read all of these books, but I don't have the time or money to do that.
The Cameron Winkler in the chat said Todd McFarlane. Yeah, wow. Could you imagine that? Hey everyone, it's me. It's Uncle Todd. I'm back again at the House of Ideas.
That'd be pretty cool.
Gonna draw me some of these X-Men. They're gonna look so good. He gets there long enough. He's like, maybe I should get to write an X-Men book now. I think about that. just getting his foot back in. No, Todd can't do that. He's too busy. Writing or not writing, but overseeing the Spawn universe.
Spawn universe, yeah.
Maybe it's Chip Zdarsky. Chip Zdarsky's drawing it.
That'd be pretty cool.
Chip Zdarsky is such a good writer. Again, I forget that he also draws.
He's an artist, yeah.
It's like, oh yeah, that's right. You keep blowing my socks off. I forgot you're actually multi-talented. Thank you, Libernal. I think that's what it is. Thank you for the follow. Much appreciated. But yeah, so there's your X-Men news, everyone. Get hyped for it. Get pumped.
Yeah.
But guess what? It's not just mutants you got to get pumped for at Marvel, Matt, because they got a bunch of new stuff coming down the pipeline, including The Monkey Prince, a brand new Asian-inspired hero by Jean Luen Yang.
Yeah, The Monkey Prince is actually at DC, though.
Oh, shit, is it really? Did I get that so fucking wrong?
Yeah.
See, here's my problem. It just feels like a friggin' Marvel idea, doesn't it? The Monkey Prince?
Yeah.
But yeah, so Monkey Prince, obviously a reference to the famous Sun Wukong Monkey King stories. You may know it better as that thing what inspired the Dragon Ball.
Yeah, and I believe Jet Li has made a bunch of movies as the Monkey King, or there has been a bunch of movies about the Monkey King.
Wildly popular piece of Asian folklore. It's like right up there with like friggin' Robin Hood and King
Lord of the
Arthur.
Rings sort of thing, yeah.
Yeah, like it's a story that's been around forever. It's in the public domain. Everyone has done their version of it. I remember watching Monkey Magic growing up, which was obviously like some like redo of an original Chinese thing. But yeah, this is cool. This is a cool little introduction. I like the costume, and again too, I like the logo is an M, but it's also a mountain, which is a reference to the story of the Monkey King.
It's pretty good logo, really yeah.
And hey, nice too starting out. No, he's just the Monkey Prince now. He will grow into becoming the Monkey King.
Yeah, hopefully, we do get to see more. And again, Jean Yang is writing the Batman Superman book at the moment, so the character could appear there. But he's appearing in the Festival of Heroes book first.
Yes, part of a big push, big diversity push, big celebration push for, all Asian heroes across the DC universe. And as we look at this cover, it's like, oh yeah, I guess they do got a fair amount of really good Asian heroes, don't they?
They do.
Heck, to say nothing of the characters who are also kind of like biracial and have a little bit of Asian up in there. Like, obviously, we see Emiko in here. I'm like, well, technically, you could put Connor on there too, actually. I'm pretty sure everyone's got a little something in there. So good for them. It's I like to see comic companies embracing folklore for ideas, especially folklore that, is not seen as like North American folklore.
Absolutely, yeah.
There's a whole world of really cool ideas elsewhere, and now is definitely the perfect time for it. And again, great design. A great design can go a very long way.
It can.
I love the pants. I love the pants are like that weird aqua blue. You never see that, and yet he's got like black sneakers on.
I was just about to say that. He's got this kind of like ancient regal looking armor, and then like a pair of Reeboks.
Gotta rock the box, man, is what I got.
I think he actually does have like a human alter ego as well, because I did see some art that looked like it was like his like human form.
Yeah, absolutely. So that's cool. I'll definitely have to check that one out because, I'm very interested. This is a good drawing that got me, and I want to see what the Monkey Prince is all about. Now, moving on from there, we got some more new stuff from Marvel, and this time I know it's from Marvel. I'm not full of shit this time, and that's going to be Moon Knight. We got a brand new Moon Knight book coming from Adam McKay very soon.
Yeah, it's about time they did it. Well, we've got the TV show coming very soon.
In fact, if you're on Twitter, you can see the man who would be Moon Knight training for his fight scenes, and I like they got a bunch of blades involved and everything. And also, too, with some of the darker places that Falcon and Winter Soldier has gone, I am not worried at all about the content of Moon Knight and where they might be able to take it.
Not at all.
So, this is Adam McKay who's writing this one. What has he written before? I know I looked at this before it came out.
He's writing the current Black Cat series.
Right, which everyone says is actually really
very
good.
excellent, apparently. And I think he did the King in Black Times as well, which were really damn good as well.
Right, okay. I guess I gotta read Black Cat now because everyone says it's really good and I'm missing out and I don't want to miss out. The kind of synopsis we got for it was really short, but it basically seemed to be, spinning out of the pages of his story in Avengers, which I did not finish. But
I thought it was going to be about... I didn't read the synopsis. I knew it was going to be about that.
So apparently Khonshu has actually been locked away at the end of that story. So so Mark Spector and his personalities are like alone now for the first time in a long time, trying to make a go of it. And Moon Knight, or Mr. Knight, I guess, because it's the detective persona, opens up what he calls his Moonlight Mansion, which is basically like, if you got a paranormal problem, come to Moon Knight and ask for help. Yeah,
awesome. That's a great way to take the character. I'm glad they're actually paying off on that whole Moon Knight thing from Avengers, because Khonshu got locked up at the end of that because Khonshu's insane. And it's interesting to see what Mark will be like without that on his shoulders.
Definitely. I like the idea of them fully embracing Moon Knight as like a paranormal detective.
Yeah, that's great.
If you have a problem, if it's too scary, spooky, or spoopy, come to Moon Knight and he'll solve it for you real good. I mean, he might be a little crazy, but he'll do it. Yeah, I'm interested to see where this goes, too, because, again, Marvel takes swings at Moon Knight every couple years, and in some cases, they turn in some really, really good books.
Yes.
But this is the first time where they're like, no, this one needs to hit on all cylinders because we got the show coming out.
Yeah, I wonder if this will, like, set the tone for that show. Like, in terms of, like, will it be very similar to it?
It sure feels that way with the last couple projects they've done, hasn't it? It certainly feels like it sets the tone. So, yeah, get ready, everyone, to be really into Moon Knight in a couple months. So there you go. Now, what else do we got going on here? So from one stalker of the night to another, maybe you heard about this, maybe it flew over your radar there, but apparently all the plans for Predator at Marvel right now are on hold. Not just the new series from Ed Brisson that was coming down the pipeline, but also like a re-release compilation of a bunch of other Predator stories have apparently been stopped up, and they've given no reason why.
Yep, the variant covers have also been stopped as well, which is very strange.
Weird. The only thing I could possibly think of why they're not going full speed ahead on this when they were so clearly into it do they not own all the rights they thought they did? Did they like do some paperwork and realize that they don't actually 100% own Predator?
Don't own, yeah, like some
Aspects.
character or an aspects or something. Yeah, maybe.
Have they had? That's the only thing I could think for them to do it and then not say anything about it. That's like, oh no, someone came out of the woodwork and said, nope, you got to pay me actually if you want to use it.
Which is very strange because I always thought it was in like the same boat as the Alien stuff, where it's like 20th Century Fox and whoever owned that, when they sold to Disney, they sold it like wholesale. It was like part of the deal.
But then again, these are also franchises. Like, haven't they been toured around a bunch to like a bunch of different people? Like, haven't they shown up in weird places before?
I guess it's, you've had them in like Mortal Kombat and stuff, but I guess that's like that'd be like Warner Brothers licensing them out from from a 20th Century. I guess they wouldn't be buying them.
You wouldn't think so. Again, I don't know a lot about copyright law. Maybe this is one of those situations like that producer who always gets paid for Batman related stuff, even though he's not involved in anything, but they still got to put his name on it anyway. Maybe it's one of those situations where someone has mollusted themselves to the Predator brand and Disney's like, oh, no. We're not going to fucking pay you every time we put this out. Either take a lump sum or we're just not going to do anything with it. Because, they just said it's all on hold indefinitely, not even rescheduled to a later time. They're like, nope, indefinitely.
Yeah, so, again, that does sound like there is some legal aspect to this. Someone owns something for the Predator and wants money.
Yeah, that sounds like we do not want to get sued, and we're not even going to risk it at this point until we 100% own it. And
it just... that feels like such an oversight. You would thought that like they would have like, okay, we want to do comics with these properties. Alien, that's fine, push that out. All right, Predator, that's fine. Like you thought they would have checked everything, made sure everything was fine. Yeah.
I mean, this is the world of comics, though, where, what's the most famous story about, what is it, the, like, the British Captain Marvel rights there, Miracle Man rights, where it's like Todd McFarlane said he owned it for years, made business deals with it, only to find out later, he didn't actually own near as much as he said he did.
Yep.
And even now that apparently, Gaiman got the rights back to it and everything, it still doesn't matter because he still never showed up in anything ever again. It's a hell of a thing. I'm sure this will be very interesting when all of this gets cleared up and we get to hear about this later.
Exactly, yeah.
So from the sillier topics to a topic that is actually rather serious, and it's one that I'm sure we would be remiss if we did not discuss. It's been burning up the internet for the last little bit. It's been a really hot button issue, and an issue that I will freely admit, and what many patrons even had a conversation with me about and saying, hey, maybe you weren't as sympathetic when talking about this as you should have been. Maybe you should have waited for everything to come out. And you know what? They were probably right. Of course, I'm talking about the ongoing Ray Fisher, Warner Brothers controversy investigation. Well, it officially finally came out. Many questions were answered in a Hollywood Reporter article this week where essentially, I guess Fisher's NDA had expired, so now he could talk about it more willingly and more openly than he could before.
That was the implication, but I was under the impression there was no. I'm pretty sure someone said there was actually no NDA.
Well, I know he kept saying that he was waiting for the investigation to be done, which in fact we actually learned way more about the investigation in the article that he talks about, but for whatever reason was able to talk about it more openly and shed some light onto what went down between him and Whedon and really the entire cast of Justice League when it came to these reshoots and everything else. And man, it's one of those situations where it's like, oh, this is as bad as some people were thinking, but also bad in a completely different direction than what you were thinking. Because I feel whenever the specter of racism in the workplace comes up, a lot of people are always quick to think, oh no, who called who the N-word in this situation? But in truth, the reality is when it comes to topics of racism in the workplace, it's often a lot more subtle and a lot more insidious because of that.
Yeah.
And there was a lot of different reasons that they covered in this, but basically, Fisher says is that when Whedon was brought on to finish the project after Snyder had turned in an unreleasable 4-hour cut that ironically would ultimately get released. So who got the final fucking laugh on that one, I guess. He said that, just the general mood and everything of the film and the production changed entirely. And the idea is that, Whedon was brought in to finish it at all costs. And as we have seen many times before, and as we have even joked about before, Whedon, bit of a prickly fellow who basically
That's
said,
putting it nicely.
That is putting it nicely. Again, talk to anyone who worked on him on Buffy, talk to his ex-wife, they'll tell you. Basically, what he ended up coming out saying is like, look, I'm not looking for any notes. I'm not looking for any input. I don't take notes. I don't care what you have to say. I don't even care what Robert Downey Jr. had to say when I was making the Avengers tour. I'm like, fuck. That very much sounds like something Joss Whedon would say, and also lines up perfectly with a Reddit leak from 2018, actually.
Yeah, is that the thing that he said with that he had with Gal Gadot?
Yes, that's
because that was something in this article that I'm like, wait, I've heard of this before. I've heard of this before.
Yes, we read the same Reddit article where it's like, obviously the Fisher stuff, we know because that's more out in the public. But this article even went a little step further to say that Whedon, very much in keeping with the character that we knew and had heard about on Buffy and everything else, took a particular issue with Godot and her not wanting to follow orders and not wanting to do basically what he wanted to do. Of course, the big, Flash lands in her cleavage joke. That was the thing. Apparently, she was vehemently against that, and also
I can understand why.
I can understand it. When she wouldn't do it, he apparently really pressured the stunt double in like that so horrifying and almost cliched, you'll never work in this town again.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't do what I say. I'm like, fuck, and also that really checks out and also sounds right. He even apparently went a step further to be like, look, if you don't do this, then I'm going to fuck up the Wonder Woman sequel.
Yeah.
Because apparently he thought he would stick around and that he'd have the power to do that. So, fuck, that is all really bad, really uncomfortable. And that's even before we get to the full-on Fisher stuff and the very, very thorny race issue attached to all of it, where basically, Whedon said, I'm not taking notes from anyone. I don't care what any of you have to say. And that's one thing when he does it to the other members of the cast. It's another thing when you start telling a black man how to be a black man on screen. Just yikes all over the fucking place there. And apparently the big sticking point and, the hill that became, the thing that Fisher was willing to fight for was surprisingly, and like, I couldn't believe this at first, but it made perfect sense by the end of it. The topic of Booyah, which of course is the big cyborg catchphrase from the Teen Titans cartoon. Apparently, the Warner Brothers higher-ups and Whedon especially wanted that line to be in the movie. Fisher's like, nah, I don't want to say it. It sounds kind of silly. No one else has to say catchphrases. Isn't it a little lame that, like in American entertainment, we're always boiling down black men on screen to their catchphrases? And I'm like, okay, that's a pretty well-educated thing to say. In fact, hey, who had a great bit of insight on this? Go read his tweet thread if you haven't. David F. Walker, who, of course, wrote the Cyborg comic for a little bit at DC. And Walker's like, you know what? I talked to Ray because Ray very much wanted to research his role and talk to someone else who wrote the character. Walker says he didn't want to do Booyah either, but felt pressure to have to do it anyway because it was expected of him and was expected of the character. And he further went on to say, it's never about the Booyah until it's about that. And that's what it became here, that became the ultimate symbol of, hey, you're not taking my input, you're not caring what I have to say. And I'm feeling, really, really fucking neglected on this one. And I'm like, yeah, man. The other thing, and this was like a bit of conjecture, but again, totally sounds like something realistic, where Fisher apparently heard from another person working on the movie that Whedon and the other higher-ups in the production, when it came to recutting the movie, said that they didn't want, an angry black man to be at the center of what was supposed to be their big, happy summer blockbuster. And I'm like, ooh, yeah, okay. That sounds really bad. Yes, I know stuff like 21 Jump Street has joked before where it's like, the whole stereotype of the angry black man is a very tired stereotype. But what you're also saying there is like, we don't want a black man at the center of our story. And indeed, while I might not have enjoyed the arc Cyborg had in the movie of the Snyder Cut there's no denying he was the anchor to the whole thing. And when you pull that thread, none of it works.
Yeah, that's why so much was cut out. Yeah. Because like you extract like his story and then you're like, oh, we can't have these like scenes with Ryan Choi and his father there because they don't make any sense now, so we've got to take them out. And then we've got to take this mother box stuff out because that doesn't make sense now because it just sits there. And
it all starts to make a little bit more sense. What was it? And then, of course, there's the matter of Jeff Johns, who it's like, well, we've never heard anything bad about Jeff Johns on anything. What
that was always the thing that stuck out to me. That was like him sort of baiting the Snyder Cut people.
Same, because I'm like, what does Jeff Johns have to do with this? Because for everything we had heard, it's like, well, yeah, Jeff Johns is really only there in title. He doesn't really have that much power to do anything. And every story I hear is about no one listening to Jeff Johns. Again, the aspersion here that is cast, and again, sounds something that's unfortunately like a little all too familiar in the workplace, that Fisher came to Johns like, well, hey, can you help me with this? Can you help mediate Whedon? And John was basically like, well, can you just do it anyway? Can you just suck it up and do it and forget about your feelings for a little bit? And also, hey, let me, another white executive creator, tell you how to play your character. And no, and here's the thing. Whedon's people, and Whedon had nothing to say in this Hollywood Reporter article. John's people actually did have stuff to say.
Yeah, it was not very... This is something that definitely Jeff Johns did not have any input in saying. You can see that.
This is all the worst kind of PR speak, where it's like, Jeff Johns respects and loves all people from all walks of life, and he's the one who put Cyborg in the Justice League on the comics, so surely he cannot be racist. And I'm like, yeah, but you can, though. You can have the best intentions and still be racist and still not seeing how you're fucking up. And this is definitely one of those situations.
Didn't the response also go in to say, he created a black character once?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And like, don't do that. Please don't do
that. No, please don't be the creative version of, but I have a black friend. And I'm like, no, that's not the point here. Feels like you're actively missing the point on this one. And then it's like, okay, Ray Fisher, I see why you're angry now.
Again, why couldn't any of this actually come out? Because it was said that he didn't have an NDA. Why did he have to string us along? He could have just said all of this at the beginning.
It's all very weird. The article also says Fisher's like, yeah, and they actively tried to discredit me with like a complete campaign against me and everything, because they had come out with their own articles and they're like, the investigation's finished and we didn't find anything and I'm like, okay, yeah, maybe they did railroad you a little bit, or it looks like they really did try and railroad you, but maybe it didn't work out. There was some fuckery going on here. There's no doubt about it. And you're like, right, like, well, what if you had just come out and said this? I think we all would have been more on your side much quicker.
Exactly.
But then, it's the other thing too, and this is the thing we always got to remember when we're talking about important situations like this. You got to believe the victim in stories like this, because the victim is risking more in coming out and going against the big machine. And I'm like, see, that's the thing. They tried to make us forget that until it was too late. But yeah, it's a real fucked up situation, and it's made even worse because basically this is a Hollywood Reporter article. By the time it's done, it's like, and nothing could really happen because Whedon doesn't work there anymore. And in fact, it seems like they probably won't rehire him on other projects. And
he doesn't have that Batgirl movie anymore. So,
no, which was probably not going to happen anyway. But still, it's like he doesn't work there anymore. And also the head of Warner Brothers Films at the time, he doesn't work there anymore either. So short of an apology, which I think he is more than owed at this point. In fact, I think a lot of people in this situation are owed at this point. But they're not going to give any apology, because giving an apology would be admitting guilt, and that's just ugh. And I can also see him being like, yeah, sure, whatever, take me out of Flash. I don't give a fuck.
Yeah, well, again, it kind of feeds back into him sort of stringing everyone along for all those months instead of saying something. I think if he said something, it would have sort of changed the outcome of this. But because he strung everything along and everything, it feels like maybe he's now been blacklisted of everything. He's kind of torpedoed his own career a little bit.
It's a weird situation. I mean, he does have another show. I think they've already announced him for. And I think after this, I think after this Hollywood Reporter article can really
it'll probably help him. Yeah, but yeah, there was probably a moment there where it probably didn't.
Yeah. Again, I'm sure he was weighing a lot of options about his career. And do I even want to stay in Hollywood? Do I even want to do this and that? As I've had such a bad experience. But you know what? They might not extend an apology to the man, but for what it's worth, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Sounds like you had a really fucked up time in this, and that's a real shame because getting to play a superhero should be awesome, and we're only hearing that the people involved in this project only had a bad time. In fact, this maybe even further strengthens an idea that I wasn't sure about early on, and that's like, why are all these actors getting behind Zack Snyder and this movie that I didn't think actually had much of a vision at all outside, just being like a popcorn muncher? And I'm like, oh, maybe it was like kind of like people who had been through a traumatic experience kind of like coming together and being like, yo, we love the old guy, fuck that new guy, we don't want his version out there, we want the version that we worked on and agreed with a little bit more because that guy wasn't an asshole to us.
Yeah, so. I don't think we're going to see him as Cyborg again. He's not going to be in that Flash film. I mean, he himself said he doesn't want to be part of that because that guy Hamada. That Hamada thing never made much sense to me because Hamada was never there with like when the Justice League was being made. It was that other guy, Kevin Tishihara. So I don't understand what. I guess maybe it's because he took over and maybe he found out about this or something and didn't do anything.
I think the idea is that he's mad where it's like, hey, new leadership making the same mistakes.
Yeah.
Am I not deserving of something? So yeah, it's a fucked up situation, but I think it's a fucked up situation that we can now say we understand a lot better on this one than we did before. And it's just a shitty situation is what it is. I mean,
if anything, with all of this coming out now, maybe now like the DC movies can get on track.
That's the hope.
Yeah,
and also too,
I don't know if they will, but you never know.
You never know. And also, hey, teachable situation too for anyone in a position of power in any sort of creative endeavor or really just any place ever. You can be racist and not think you're being racist. It's actually quite easy. So, try and be a little bit more sympathetic and try and, look through the eyes of another person on this one. It's really all you can do. But so there's the serious news, everyone. I know that brings the middle of the show down, but again, this did feel like the biggest thing in our like little spectrum of news, so it felt like we did need to talk about it.
One thing that intrigued me is that like we got all these stories of like Whedon being a dick here, but like to my knowledge, there's been nothing about him doing the exact same thing on like the first two Avengers films. Yeah, I wonder if maybe it's just because Marvel's a bit more of a tightly run ship, like it's a bit more well organized, but then also it could have been that whole thing where it's like, well, I directed $2 billion Avengers films. I am, that ego thing.
True. I mean, again, apparently he straight up said, I don't even take notes from, Robert Downey Jr., where it's like, Robert Downey Jr. basically helped reinvent Iron Man, and he is the character, and we're taking notes from him.
Yeah.
That's also a thing, too, where it's like, look, those stories might come out years later.
Yeah.
Like maybe after someone dies or someone writes a book or something.
Yeah, that'd be quite interesting, doing like a whole documentary behind the scenes thing on this whole thing.
Yeah, because Lord knows people sure sounded happy and everything in all the interviews and all the media scrums and everything, but they're actors, so they can easily lie.
They're paid to do that. Yeah,
they're paid to do that. Hey, this also probably brings up the question where it's like, yeah, so Whedon did those first two Avengers and they were really good. Why didn't they bring them back for the third one? I think we can say we know why now.
Yeah.
Because again, that's basically the Marvel method. It's like, no, we go with the person who makes us the most money and the person who seems like they know what they're doing, and and we make changes when we have to. But I guess people were just way more happy working with the Russos then.
Yeah, and it worked out great.
It did. It worked out great for them in the long run. So yeah, that's that, everyone. There's a very important, very hard to swallow piece of news, but you know what? It can't always be fun. It can't always be a happy, fun time.
No, but yeah, hopefully something good comes of all of this.
We can only hope. We can only hope. So I guess from that to maybe something a little bit more positive. Falcon and the Winter Soldier was pretty huge this week, wasn't it?
Oh boy, was it.
Boy, howdy. How about that episode? Where do we even start?
Well, let's start at the beginning.
They fill in some more stuff about Bucky's time as the White Wolf in Wakanda, which was pretty cool.
That was some great acting there from Sebastian Stan when they when Io, the Dora Milaje woman, tries to uncondition his reconditioning.
Yeah, purge the words from him, and I'm like, okay, this makes a lot of sense. That's pretty solid. How they would be able to do that and be able to help him out. And you're right, yeah, you see Sebastian Stan just so much fucking pain.
It's great. It's such a great piece of character development for a character who hasn't had much up until now.
Yeah, because again, just from war to war, it's nice to actually see him like in a middle time. And again, him just dealing with like mountains of PTSD, and I'm like, yep, that sounds about right.
Yep.
Zemo continues to just be the best.
Oh, he's so good, isn't he?
He really is. Like, he's just killing it. It's like, yep, I can see why you guys tried so hard to rewrite his origin to where now he's not the descendant of Nazis, because he's just too much fun, and being a descendant of a Nazi would really make me feel uncomfortable for how fun he's the ultimate chess master. And again, you just see how he doesn't have powers like he does in the comics, but he just moves people around, and he says the right thing and does the right things.
Yeah, bribes children with candy.
Yeah, well, also revealing a little bit about his character, being like, yeah, my son loved these. I'm like, oh yeah, you have dead children.
Well, see, that's the interesting thing about him. It's like, is that actually real? Like, was
he making it up?
Yeah, was he just making that up just to appear more sympathetic? Like, I know he did have a family and everything, but yeah, that could be something he's using that as another one of his assets.
Great piece of writing too, because it's like Sam and Bucky are going around desperately trying to find information about this Flag Smasher funeral, and obviously no one is telling them because all these displaced people have no community except for the community they've built up, and they see Winter Soldier and Falcon as like, these tools of the American government. But Zemo is like, yeah, well, adults will lie to you, children won't lie to you though.
No.
Which is so fucking smart. Just, with some candy, I can get what I want out of this. We get to spend a lot of time with Carly, the main Flag Smasher and everything, and she has a hell of a little discussion debate with Sam.
That was Sam's moment where he stopped being Sam Wilson and started becoming Steve Rogers.
Big agree on that one. And also pulling on some stuff from the past too about how he used to run what is it, like a support group for veterans, and how he's like, look, I'm not going to come at this girl like the enemy, because maybe she's not even, and try and humanize her and sympathize her. And again, the line that I think will follow Sam around for a bit. Now, I can't speak for the millions, but what is it, I can
speak for us or something. I can't remember.
Or something like it was. I said it so more, but I can't remember. It's a very good line of dialogue that is delivered excellently on his side there. And oh man, they might have gotten away with it too. They might have fixed everything if goddamn Wyatt Russell didn't come in and fucking everything up.
John Walker is exactly how I want him to be in this show. He's there to try and save America and everything, and he just fucks everything up.
Yep. Again, if I was a little unsure at the beginning how they were playing him, this would have been the episode that won me over. If I was unsure, they actually did exactly what I was hoping they would do. And it's like, no. He's not going to be an asshole right out of the gate. He's going to be a little asshole. He's going to be an undercover asshole. But every week we see it get turned up a little bit more, and we see what sets him off. And again, the big moment here is when he actually loses a fight against the Dora Milaje.
Yeah, and I love that scene, because I love how he kind of breaks down and says they weren't even super soldiers. Yeah, they were just like skilled warriors, and he lost to them.
He lost them. And again, man, it is very much on purpose that Captain MAGA basically goes full bad guy the second after a bunch of super strong black women shatter his white fragility. Furthermore, some other great stuff in that episode. We realized that, hey, Battlestar probably would have made a better Captain America replacement too, but they probably didn't pick him for the same reason they didn't pick Sam.
Again, this was like beat for beat touched on in the recent US Agent issues,
which is crazy to think,
where Lamar is like touted as like being much better at being a Captain America than John Walker is, but he wasn't chosen because he was black.
Because we need a white face on Captain America, because that's what the brass, the American military brass is saying. And I'm like, ooh. And in fact, it is further reinforced later when John Walker's like, oh, I gotta save Lamar. Lamar's been taken captive. Lamar saved himself, dude. He didn't actually need you. You're not super. You're not as good at your job as you think. And then when Lamar is killed, he's like, okay, now I'm completely crazy now because I've taken the serum and it's making my bad worse.
Again, that was also a thing that that was hanging over his head, where he's surrounded by all these people that have like Bucky and Carly and all that have the super soldier serum, so everything comes easy to them, all this fighting and everything, and he's very jealous of that. So when he gets the chance to get the serum, he takes it immediately.
Absolutely. It even ties into that conversation Zemo was having about what makes a supremacist.
Yes.
It's like you feel weak, you don't feel strong enough, and you'll do whatever it takes to make yourself the strongest, even if it, at cost to everyone else. And of course, the person that John Walker brutally murders is a guy who we learned just a few moments ago was a big Captain America fan when he was a kid.
Yeah. One thing I did like about the episode is we had a scene between Zemo and Sam where they talk about like, oh, would Sam take the serum if given the chance? And Sam immediately says, no, he doesn't need it. He doesn't need it or anything. And we get the exact same scene with Lamar and John. Yeah. And it's the opposite, where John immediately says he'll take it.
There's a ton of subtlety in this episode. And again, I was worried, like some people were worried, where it's like, are they not going to take some of these really ripe fruits when it comes to talking about, like, topical issues and everything? And they waited a bit, but boy, did they take them. And again, that final shot that I think will live in infamy of U.S. Agent holding a bloody Captain America shield after decapitating a man in the streets.
I think that's the first time we've ever seen it covered in human blood.
I think so too.
Yeah.
We've seen it broken, we've seen it everything else, but actually covered in blood. And it's very disturbing, isn't it?
It is, yeah.
And again, visual poetry too. In the back of my mind, I couldn't help but hear, this is America. Look how we live in now. And again, that he did it on like the streets of Eastern Europe and everything too. And I'm like, oh, this is the thing. And that he's going viral and everything. I bet next week, again, I bet you a Coke, we're going to get a scene with a bunch of people on the internet being like, I can't believe Captain America did that. I am, moving to Canada. And other people being like, yeah, finally Captain America taking care of business.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
And that's going to be the big divide as we move forward. And I'm like, okay, see, this is why you do it subtle. This is why he's not an asshole right away. You got to build up to this payoff. That's a really good payoff.
And this also leads into the fact that obviously John Walker's not going to be Captain America now because he just murdered someone in broad daylight on film. So it sets him up to be the US agent. This is that they'll take the Captain America mantle from him, but say, oh, we kind of still want that a little. Like government will say, oh, we kind of still want that a little bit. You'll be U.S. agent. We'll give you a black costume.
There you go. Yeah, we're gonna update you for the 2020. But yeah, it's really really good. And like good in a way I was not expecting, because there's a moment there where I'm like, hey, this is pretty good, action spy stuff feels like, a good like summer blockbuster movie. And then I'm like, okay, this is why you make it a TV show right here. This is what you do with the extra time. Can I say how good was the soundtrack too when John Walker was rounding the corner and it was like getting louder and louder and buzzier and buzzier?
Yeah. Again, it helps sell that rage he had after they killed Lamar.
So, some people too think like, oh, they did Lamar dirty by killing him off the way they did. I'm like, no, see, that's great, because you see all these people with powers fighting each other, and it's nothing to them. It's like, banging action figures together. Then the second a real person gets in there, he's killed with one hit, because that's how real the shit is. It like pulls you back to uncomfortable reality, world outside your window.
Yep.
So that's some good ass shit right there. Oh, the joke too, where Zemo manages to escape because of tunnels in the bathroom. I literally said, "Oh, hey, he pulled an El Chapo." And in the show, they're like, "Damn, he El Chapo'd us." And I'm like, "Oh, Marvel show, you understand me." The chat said too, Invincible came out this week. Did you see the new Invincible?
I did, yes.
Best episode of the season.
Absolutely, Mahershala Ali as Titan is just amazing.
What a fucking performance. I remember when I saw him in episode 1 and I'm like, why did they cast such an amazing actor in a role where he's here for 2 minutes?
Now, is the stuff in that episode in like with Titan taking over the machine head stuff, is that in the comics? Because I can't really remember.
Yes, but it doesn't happen till way later, like after the Viltrumite War.
Yeah, I haven't read past the Viltrumite War. So
that's okay.
So like me seeing it and having that twist at the end where like it was all Titans thing was so cool to me.
Yeah, because there's a bit like after the Viltrumite War where he's like, oh, I want to be a hero now, Invincible, but really he was working this game to try and take over Machine Head's empire. Yeah. I love Machine Head in the show speaks with an auto-tune.
It's pretty good.
That's pretty fun. That's a good choice. I like that. Man, I like this episode too because this is basically about like pulling Mark as a hero down to earth and being like, "Hey man, what kind of hero do you want to be?" He's like, "No, I'm like my dad. I'm a world-saving hero. I stop, meteorites and mad scientists." And to have Titan be like, "Dude, look at all the crime on the street right now that you could be doing something about, but you're not."
Yeah, you're focusing on the big picture where the small picture is like where it should be.
Yeah, you should be attacking the root causes of crime. Also, too, in just a couple lines, they make a really interesting point about the world of Invincible and being like, look, whether you're a hero or a villain, much like most things in the world, really comes down to powers and where you're born.
Mm-hmm.
If Mark was born in a place like this with his amazing powers, he probably would have become a criminal, too, because you become what is available to you.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And I'm like, damn, this show is like kicking some interesting ideas. Even too, that we get to see Titan and we get to see Mark in like an average day and see all the overlap in their lives.
Yep.
Is really fucking cool and really clever. I'm like, yo, can this just be like a show unto itself? I would happily watch this, like The Wire for superheroes and like what do they do in their day-to-day lives.
Mm-hmm. It's great.
Nicole Bayer in a very small role as both Titan's wife and daughter. I thought that was fun.
That was pretty cool.
I hope she comes back there. It's like, hey, you got a really funny lady and didn't have her say or do anything funny. Was it the big fight at the end, of course, where it's Machine Head and his hired guns versus Titan and Invincible, eventually versus the teen team, and it's a big clusterfuck.
I like how the show's able to, like, I don't know how the hell they do it, but they're able to capture that like gross violence the comic has, where like Mark in this episode just gets absolutely fucked up, like covered in blood and everything. And that was something that happened in the comics all the time, and they're just able to do it in the show, and it works.
It's again this what works about this, and I'm glad to see people are picking up on this. Where like some people don't like, the kind of Mark Millar, even like The Boys, where it's like, no, I don't like when you mix superhero stuff just with a lot of grim and grit. What is cool about Invincible, and the show nails it, it's the subverting of expectations. Where it's like, oh, it's a superhero show. It's a regular superhero show you've seen a million times. Oh, is he going to be able to make his date and fight the bad guy? Oh, it's like, no, he can't make his date because he got fucking broken open.
Yeah, he got fucked up by a big lion man. I like that the violence is also like really quick. Like,
yes, it is.
And quick and like brutal, and it's like over before you even realize it.
They don't dwell on it, which is a lot like violence in real life, where it's like, yeah, you can get really messed up. And it's not just him. Monster Girl gets her head caved in. Freaking Black Samson sacrifices his own body, and it doesn't work. And the real bit of like salt in the wound is like, oh, Omni-Man was watching the whole time, and he could have stopped it, but he didn't.
I've loved all the stuff they're doing with Omni-Man, where like us just like listening to all the stuff he's doing is like, this guy's a fucking psychopath, but his family is like, oh, this is just normal. Like they're talking about like, no, you're a Viltrumite, you're fucking Aryan race, you're in charge of everyone, and the family's just sitting there, just talking. And I like the story his wife is getting, where she's like getting closer and closer to like following after the demon detective and like trying to find his costume because it's something to do with the costume. And
which Debbie did not get in the comics. They made a very solid point of Debbie not being a self-actualized woman and even getting a job of her own until a big thing happens that I'm not going to spoil because it's still probably going to happen in the show. In fact, I bet it's going to be the season finale.
Oh, yeah.
Because it's like, hey, everyone, remember what a big shock it was when you saw Omni-Man kill the Justice League stand-ins and you thought that the show could never shock you anymore? No, they're going to shock you again, actually, in a big way.
That's absolutely going to be the season finale.
Because what better way to end it on than that moment where it's like, oh, hey, we changed everything and subverted your expectations. Then we changed it all again. And in fact, that scene when it happens is going to be, that much more effective because, man, J.K. Simmons turning in a hell of a performance here where I agree, Matt. It's like, wow, what a psychopath, what a liar, what a this, that, and the other. But then how you see him reel people back and be like, wait, I think he actually does really love his family. But then again, no, that's what a psychopath does. They make you think.
Yeah, he's great. Yeah, just every time he's on screen, you can just feel feel like the evilness in him. But then yeah, he does the stuff where he's like, oh, he's like sitting down with his family for dinner and like helping his son trying to find his powers and everything. He's like, this is stuff like a dad and stuff should do, but then he's murdering people.
It is an interesting take on what is unfortunately becoming the all too like stereotypical evil take on Superman, which I truly appreciate.
Yeah.
Because, like, literally, you could probably do, like, a whole video right now. The top 10 best evil Superman. Again, you would get the Homelander in there. You'd get Omni-Man in there. You'd get, like, Injustice Superman in there. Well, what other evil Superman, Chad? Tell us what other evil Superman you would put on there. Ultraman, I guess.
Ultraman, yep.
Would definitely be in there. There's the Justice Lord Superman. He'd be there.
Yep.
Yeah, there's a lot of places you could go with it. But yeah, so that was Invincible this week, and again, best episode of the season so far. They spun so many plates, but had it totally work by the end.
Absolutely. How long is this season?
I don't know, actually.
Oh, okay.
I want to say 10 episodes, but I could be wrong. Let's go.
Because I mean, they're quite barreling through the
They are
the comics and everything.
They are. There's just an insane amount of show in this show, and it helps that it's 40 minutes.
It does, yes.
Okay, Wikipedia says it's 8 episodes.
Oh, okay then.
So we're a little over halfway.
Yeah.
Now here's one for you. The first episode was actually written by Robert Kirkman, and the final episode looks like it's going to be written by Robert Kirkman too.
So I think it's definitely going to happen. What we think is going to happen.
And then zombies come in. Yep, that's what we think is going to happen. It's actually a secret crossover with The Walking Dead. I joke, but Amazon's like, we could do that if you want. We could pay the money. We'll make it happen. Isn't Walking Dead ending this year? Isn't this like its final season?
They keep saying that.
And they keep doing spin-offs. I'm like, wait, there's an Amazon Walking Dead spin-off? Yeah. Fuck off.
That's what I saw that. I'm like, that's not like, that's just like some random show that's named itself Walking Dead to try and cash. Oh no, it's an actual thing and it's about like teenagers.
Huh.
It's like, no, I'm not watching that. And then there was that Fear the Walking Dead.
Yeah.
Which is on like season 6 or something.
Hard to believe. It is so crazy to think that Robert Kirkman, a guy who did like Battle Pope, and everything. It's like, I want to tell a story about zombies, and I'm going to pitch it to Image. Like, okay, sure, whatever. And then he does it, and it's the biggest goddamn fucking, like, industry unto itself. Like, he never has to work another day in his life now.
Yep, and then there's, like, movies that are apparently happening.
Oh, yeah.
Tell the story of Rick, because Rick got taken back to his home planet at the end of one of those seasons.
Oh, did they? Is the show Rickless now?
Oh, yeah, he got, like... I remember I watched the episode. He got blown up on a bridge or something, and he got like medevaced away. I think with Michonne or something like that. Yeah.
Did the actor want out? Is that why? Because that sounds very much like putting him on a bus.
Yeah. Well, they wanted out, and then they said like, "Oh no, Rick's story is going to continue in these like 3 films." So I don't know whether it was just like the actors like, "I don't want to do TV," so like, okay, well then we'll make them big budget films.
Maybe he gets what like a bunch of actors do, where it's like, I'm the biggest star on television right now. I need to be in movies. And then like the second they leave their show to go do movies,
their career just like tanks.
Hey, Stephen Amell. Hey,
hey, guy who played Red Arrow Arsenal.
That's right. Yeah. Hey, I was gonna say David Carisi, but I'm like, no, wait, he came from movies and then did television. David Caruso, sorry, not David Carisi. That's 2 completely different people I fused together. And hey, for what it's worth, I like Stephen Amell. That show Heels that he's going to be doing for the Starz Network actually looks very fun, and I'm very interested in that show because it's about wrestling.
It does look pretty good.
I love that after doing multiple seasons of superhero television, it's like, I just want to do a show about wrestling because I love wrestling very much. And I'm like, all right, Stephen Amell, I'm down for that. Follow your passion, man. You do you. You make it happen, man. And I'll be there to watch it. Also, too, as a guy who was famous for his physicality, him doing a wrestling show where they actually wrestle would actually be pretty smart.
Yeah.
And he's friends with like Cody Rhodes and the Young Bucks and everyone in AEW, so like have them come on and do like bit parts.
Oh, you know they're gonna do that.
Absolutely. Come on, have them come in and do bit parts. That'd be pretty fucking dope, actually. All right, then. I guess that's our TV show catch. But I love this has become a segment now because there's just so much goddamn good superhero TV now.
Yeah, and it's going to get even better. Legends starts in a couple of weeks.
That's right. We saw the trailer for Legends. Aliens. We're doing aliens through history this season. Why not? From like paranormal threats to history's greatest villains to aliens. Sure.
I'm totally fine with that.
I'm fine with that too. I am up for whatever weird fucking mashup this show offers me. It's got I gotta do a video at some point. Maybe we should do it together, where it's like how Legends found its footing by embracing comedy and becoming arguably the most like consistent of the CW shows.
Yeah. It's great.
Like,
it's so
impossible.
good. It's so good.
It seems impossible. So much to the point where it's like, it's so good. Why have the comics not stolen this concept?
Yeah, why is there not a Legends of Tomorrow comic?
Infinite Frontier, man. If anything can happen, set it in the Elseworlds. It's just the characters from the show. Hell, get someone from the writing staff to write it, and the mandate be like, okay, do all the big comedy stuff you couldn't do on television because it would cost too much money. Do it in a comic. You can do anything.
Yeah, that would sell heaps.
Here's my pitch for it. Issue 1 of that, you have the characters from the Legends of Tomorrow show meet their main universe counterparts.
Meet the ones they're based on, yeah.
Yeah. So Heatwave meets Heatwave. It's like, you're not very funny.
I want to say I'm gonna have to read it because I was gonna read it for a review in LA, but they did a Crisis of Infinite Earth tie-in. And it was like,
really?
it was like the John Crye's Lex Luthor getting together the Council of Luthors and all that sort of stuff. And I'm fairly certain they did something like that. I'm fairly certain, like the comic Luthor was in there.
White Canary meets up comic White Canary. It's like, well, you're like in one story. You're barely anything. The TV show made me a million things. Holy shit. Alrighty then. I guess from there we can hop into what we read this week. Where would you like to begin, Matt?
Well, we talked about King in Black a lot. Let's start with Venom and King in Black.
We did, yeah, because they're basically one story. One feeds into another. I'm an idiot. I wish I knew to read Venom first. I checked this. I went to like Donny Cates' Twitter and checked, and the artist Iban Coelho told me to read Venom first. I missed that tweet, and it's a shame because they sync up really well. This idea that Null keeps trying to kill Eddie by throwing him off tall things, and eventually Eddie gets his revenge by throwing him off a tall thing.
Yeah. No, that Venom issue was so damn cool. Where we see Venom and basically come back to life. Eddie come back to life because he's a codex. He's allowed to, if a symbiote is attached to him, he's allowed to come back into the real world.
Yeah, he can be rebirthed, essentially. And again, we get a sweet moment, too, of the symbiote being like, I found you again, Eddie. I'll always find you. We're stronger together.
Yeah, it's kind of weird, though, that at like that point in the story, there was technically 2 Eddie Brocks.
Yeah.
Because there was the real Eddie Brock, like his body, which was about to become Captain Universe. And then there was like his soul, I guess, a codex.
Well, it's debatable about what a codex is. It's like an imprint. It's a memory. It's not really physical. It's not really a thing. And again, the hive mind isn't a real place. In fact, Null even says that even if you defeat me here, it doesn't matter. I'm just a manifestation. I'm actually like doing shit in the real world.
Yeah.
And of course, Flash Thompson gets his big heroic moment. He gets to help out. He gets to be a dragon. And we even get a funny line, too, where it's like, oh, well, good for you, Eddie. You get to escape and live again. When I live again, I'm pretty sure I'm going to be in a fucking pine box 6 feet under. Can someone remind to dig me up, please?
I do like the thing where Eddie's like, oh, just do like what Carnage do. And Flash is like, I was dead when whatever Carnage did happened. I don't know what happened.
I don't remember anything what's going on. But hey, it's fine. In the end, he Beatrix kiddos his way out of the grave. Which means he actually misses the final fight because he was busy digging himself out of the grave. But he's back now.
Yep.
It's going to be crazy when he comes back. What is it in the Spider-Man books? Hey, everyone alive again.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's going to be good.
What do you mean Harry's evil now? Say what? Should have bullied him harder.
Yeah. We find out obviously Eddie Brock becomes the new host to the Enigma Force, the new Captain Universe, and he's asked to choose a form, and of course he chooses Venom, and it's a really cool Venom design because it's literally Venom, but like instead of like the black, it's like the stars of like the Captain Universe costume.
And the spider and everything is just on fire. And I'm like, yeah, Eddie doesn't seem like a guy who would pick the traditional blue and gold with stars on it.
Not at all.
And it's just like, oh, we got to make this final fight against Null. And, Silver Surfer is there. And he's like, oh, we're going to have our big rematch from Silver Surfer Black. And the Avengers like, okay, we might not make it one final charge. And then Eddie shows up with his new costume. He's like, no, everyone stand back. I got this.
Yeah, give me your sword, give me your hammer, Thor, and I'll combine them into a giant cool battle axe.
Which, hey, nice bit of writing there where it's like, hey, should Eddie be able to use the hammer as an anti-hero? And then I'm like, oh, but Donny Cates set up in Thor that anyone can use the hammer now. Oh, he was thinking long ahead, wasn't he?
Yeah, that story that everyone thought was just like a filler was actually set up for this.
Was actually very important. Honestly, though, I kind of like to imagine that Eddie, because of his character arc, gets to wield the hammer now.
The hammer decides he's worthy of it now.
That he's come full circle now and he is a true heroic hero. And it's not just enough to have a hammer and have a sword. I put it together and become a fucking flaming battle axe that looks like the Venom symbol.
Yeah, oh, that's so cool.
And then it's just a squash match after that.
Yeah, Eddie is like insanely powerful now, and Null is taken aback by the power. It still thinks he can win and everything, despite Eddie with one hit killing a Celestial and doing chopping all this, and eventually leads to Eddie throwing Null into the sun and burning him up, exactly like how Wonder Woman killed the Darkest Knight.
Yeah, what's up with that? Wow. Well, no, it wasn't the sun. It was like, what was it, like the heat death of the universe? She like threw him into the Big
no, it was
Bang.
the sun. It was like a sun. It was like the final sun.
Same diff, all things considered, really. But yeah, threw him into a big hot thing. And Venom's like, well, I did good here today. Oh, crap, I gotta go save my son. That's what this was all about, right?
Yes, there's still a darkness in his son, and he just pulls it out of him and destroys it.
I appreciate it too, where it's like, so is Eddie just gonna be the new Captain Universe now? But no, the Enigma Force like, well, my good deed is done. Peacing out now. Bye.
Now I'm gonna go find someone else to be.
He does actually leave him with some pretty sweet parting words. Like, you don't need the light to protect you anymore, Eddie. You've become something new, something different, something better.
Yeah, and I guess like that thing he's become is the new King in Black, and I guess like the God of Light knows that like, because of the type of person Eddie is, like the darkness isn't a problem anymore.
Yeah, you won't be an evil dickbag. And even the Clintars are happy because they're like, cool, we can go back to being the proud alien race people that we were before the Null retcon. So again, Kate's doing an amazing job of putting all the toys back in the box when he's done. I
kind of like the idea that, the Clintars are not like evil now. They're like, they probably like a people who will just now be part of the galaxy.
Well, they've done that retcon several times. Bendis retconned it to say they were a proud alien race after being evil in Planet of the Symbiotes and being retconned after that, and then being like, no, the Venom symbiote's only bad because Deadpool was crazy and he touched it. Mm-hmm. So they keep going back and forth on that, but I like that he put it back to where it started. It's like, okay, Clintars won't be evil now. Mm-hmm. But maybe Carnage will be an Extreme Carnage. I don't know what that's going to be about.
Yeah, well, that makes sense. And Cletus Cassidy and all that stuff. Can't really do anything. As we said, he's kind of irredeemable, so...
Yes, and a new King in Black was crowned. Which is pretty sweet. And again, too, it's like, man, really, you're doing all this, and you're going to end your run at 200. Damn.
Yeah, we got one more issue?
Crazy to think that he's going to end it.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to that, though.
As am I. And
like, it looks like it's going to be like tie up everything and maybe even set some stuff up with Dylan and because like, does he still have powers? Can he still like affect symbiotes?
Very good question. They'll have to answer that next, won't they? Was that something he could uniquely do, or was it his connection to Null and the Void that allowed him to do it? Yeah, God help the next person who's got to go write Venom. And they're going to want a new Venom series right away to coincide with that new movie.
Oh, absolutely.
Because, like, this is the best Venom has been, maybe in decades, maybe since the original run. Never have I given a shit about Eddie Brock, but you know what? Donny Cates, you did it. You made me care. I care more now.
Again, what I said in my review, it's like the best character development the character has had since his creation in the 90s.
It's a perfect example that any character can be saved, too. You just need the right story. Mm-hmm. Helps making him a father, too, because at that point, it's like, well, it's not about me anymore.
Yeah, again, he really came into himself when we found out he had a kid and everything. Gave something Eddie to live for, basically.
Yeah. Someone give Jason Todd a kid ASAP.
Oh, please no.
It's Jason Jr.
Oh no, he's even edgier.
He's even edgier. He's an even edgier child. Just playing Fortnite and smoking his vape all day, every day. Jason's just doesn't know what to do with it. He's like, God, was I this bad, Bruce? Like, worse. Have you shot anyone yet? No. Man, that would be the thing. Give Jason Todd a son, and he's just like racist on the internet, asking women for feet pics on Twitter. Pulling thick cotton candy, vape clouds, wears a fedora. It's not a phase, Dad.
Jesus.
And I instantly sympathize for Jason. This is my child. I made this. Is the universe punishing me? Probably. I am joking, Bombing, but only like half joking. I guess we'll see more with Jason Todd this week because Urban Legends comes out. We'll see if he actually shot that guy or not.
I guess so. Yeah, he didn't. Although I really love Chip Zdarsky to be like, no, he did shoot that guy. He's a terrible person.
He's a terrible person. Because that's the thing, too. I'm like, okay, Chip, I believe in you. You do lots of good stuff. Boy, this was a generic first chapter. I hope you have some interesting stuff coming next.
I chose not to review or pick up Urban Legends. I'm going to pick up that detective one instead by Tom Taylor.
Yeah, it's fine. It's all pretty fine, is what it was.
Yeah.
No story in that. Ironically, the best story was probably the Harley Quinn story where they finally let her and Ivy kiss for the first time, and it was the shortest.
Yeah.
Like, literally, it was just like one page. What else did we have this week? Sticking with the theme of irredeemable assholes, the Suicide Squad came out this week.
Yeah, a big Peacemaker-focused issue.
Very much so. I like they're keeping this photo motif because in the first issue we saw Rick Flag looking at the photos of old Suicide Squad teams, and here we see Peacemaker looking at old photos from him being a politician to fighting crime for the first time to working with the team that's not the Watchmen but is the Watchmen.
Yep. The Charleston characters.
The Charleston. Man, how did that never become a book? How did they never just put all the Charleston heroes together in a book? Call it the Charleston Crusaders.
Yeah.
That'd be my pick, but yeah, he's in Arkham and everything's going to shit.
Yep, they've kind of completed sort of the mission, which was get William Cobb out. They have him. They're just waiting to get out, which is when Superboy and the new Suicide Squad show up, which is all made up of characters like Nocteria, who hasn't been in a comic since 2012, which was Detective Comics, and like new characters like Mind Warp and Exit.
Who die because they're new.
Who were dressed up like 90s parody characters, and you could tell they were going to die because of that.
I was going to say Mind Warp. I'm like, hey, Jean Grey of the era called. She wants her fucking shoulder pads.
His shoulder pads back, and he's got like that Gambit head thing going on.
Yeah. I'm like, these guys aren't making it. I do appreciate that this Suicide Squad book is living up to that name and having characters die every single issue.
I said in my first issue review, I hope that every issue is like a revolving door of team members, like, because the whole story is Wally gets put with losers, and she fucking hates that. And I like that that's the joke throughout this book so far, where it's like, yeah, she's put with all of these fucking losers who just die in the same issue they're introduced. And
it ties into the story, too, because what's Waller's big motivation? I don't want to run a team of losers anymore. I want the best of the best. That's why I got William Cobb by sacrificing a bunch of people, because I know the Talons are good. It's why I got Peacemaker, because I know he's just going to follow orders no matter what I tell him, because he thinks peace at any cost.
I said I'm all for peace as well, and he immediately joined.
Yeah, I love it. He didn't even commit a crime. He's just like, yeah, I'm down for this. I'm down for this team.
Yeah. And he willingly had a bomb put in his neck because he asked Waller to detonate it when he thinks he's going to get gassed.
Wow, which meant you've never seen someone be that loyal to the Suicide Squad. The whole point of the Suicide Squad is everybody hates it. Even Waller and Flag hate it.
Yeah, but he loves it.
He loves it because he's the ultimate, like, again, peace at any cost, follower, team leader. He even gets mad at Connor because Connor makes him look bad in front of Waller and the rest of the team.
Yeah, Connor comes in and helps out the team and wants to stay and help the people, which in turn gets Mind Warp and Exit killed. And,
which I love. They're playing with morality.
Yeah, and obviously Peacemaker doesn't want that. Peacemaker is only about the mission. Fuck all of these Arkham guards.
Yeah.
And yeah, that leads to him and Connor butting heads, almost like literally.
It sure is. It's fun too. This answers the question: well, how the hell is Waller going to be able to keep a Kryptonian in line? Surely even a small nanobomb couldn't kill them from the inside. And the answer is, oh no, Connor's got something different.
Yeah, he's got like a electric shock thing that doses him with like kryptonite.
Which makes sense if you were reading that Superman book, because that's basically what Waller was researching.
Mm-hmm.
How can I keep a Kryptonian in line? And they quote Pulp Fiction, which I love too. Quick, give him the Uma Thurman. Bring him back to life. Got to give him a fucking hot shot. Calibra is funny too, like a plus-sized, strong, muscular woman there who is constantly making bad jokes to try and keep things light.
Yeah, again, it feeds into that whole '90s thing where it's like, oh, this is like a total '90s character who's just all quippy and like
Very
Deadpoolish and everything. But like, yeah, in this book, she'll get her head blown off or something.
I'm like, man, I hope Calibra makes it. She's kind of fun. Then it's like, oh no, she's got a massive target painted on her back right away. Yeah, they're gonna kill Calibra, and then you're gonna feel sad about it. And the big twist at the end there is, we're not done recruiting people yet. We got a super person, we got a Deadshot stand-in, we got a Batman stand-in. I want a speedster too for my team, and they find Bolt, the woman that we met in the Future State tie-in.
Yes, yeah.
Who is apparently related to the Titans in some way, we already know, but also a descendant of Eobard Thawne somehow.
Yeah, I have to imagine. I imagine we're gonna find out something like she's from the future and got stuck here or something, and yeah, she's going to the Titans Academy to learn how to be a hero, and they break into the academy to try and get it. Because again, I really like that this issue also like ties in really well with that Infinite Frontier, because like the whole thing is like the team need to get in and out of Arkham before like the cops come in and before Batman comes in.
Yeah.
Because we see scenes from Infinite Frontier from a different perspective, where Batman arriving just as the team leaves.
It's good shit.
Yeah,
it's good shit. I like Suicide Squad. I didn't think anything would be as good as that Taylor run, but I'm like, okay, Tom, so you got your own ideas.
He's doing something different, and it's good.
Feels very different than the other Suicide Squad runs, and I'm like, this is probably good too with that new movie coming out.
Exactly. Yeah, that was why Peacemaker's getting such big push.
Getting a big push. Man, it's going to be weird next year when Peacemaker is everyone's favorite character.
Yeah, of all characters, Peacemaker.
Did you see that bit? Again, you probably don't watch late night TV like I do, but apparently when John Cena was on Stephen Colbert's late night show, he actually came out in the fucking costume.
I know he was doing a bunch of interviews in the costume, yeah.
What a fucking man.
Yeah, he's having the time of his life playing that character.
Absolutely. And also, it just feels so wrestler, too. Like, no, I have become the character. I must keep kayfabe. I got to wear the costume. Do you think I wore jean shorts and a jersey because I wanted to all those years? No, because I am dedicated to my craft. That's why. I wasn't really the doctor of thugonomics. I just told people I was. I really am the peacemaker. I really will have peace at any cost. But yeah, Suicide Squad is a lot of fun. I dig it. If you don't normally read Suicide Squad, you might like this.
Yeah.
What else did you have, Matt?
What did I have? Oh, we had Batman issue 107.
Oh yeah, was that this week? Yeah. Holy shit, my thing's all out of order. Right, because I uploaded the podcast late last week. That's why my shit's all out of order. Yeah, Batman 107. This one was spinning a lot of plates. This one wasn't like one story.
It was spinning a lot of plates, but it never felt like it was too overcrowded.
It did feel like I was reading a couple different books at one point, because we got the stuff with Batman, who's still trying to investigate the Scarecrow and his new plot to like seed fear all over Gotham.
I love that. I love all the detective stuff there, with Batman working out that, yeah, Scarecrow is kind of behind this, but he doesn't know why.
It's very not Crane's MO. Batman again admits in this issue, I thought Crane was dead. In fact, we all thought Crane was dead on A-Day, but as we discover, not only did he not die in Arkham, he looks like he hasn't even been in Arkham in months.
Again, that ties into the Suicide Squad, which was where they replaced William Cobb with like a corpse of a person. Again,
showing that it can't be done.
It can be done, yeah. Yeah, he's not been in Arkham for like months, and he wasn't meant to know that until like I guess Crane made his move.
Scarecrow also seems like he's maybe developed a new kind of power where like Batman says he hears him talking in his head, but surely that's impossible. I'm just, dosed up with too much fear toxin. But then we see him do it to Simon Saint later on. And it's like, oh, wait a minute.
Yeah, is this? I wonder if this might also tie into like the future state Red Hood stuff with like the Mad Hatter tech and everything.
Yeah,
because that sounds like a really Mad Hatter sort of thing, like mind control sort of thing. His new fear toxin is mind control.
Yeah, or something like that. It's interesting too because in the previous issue it looked like Simon Saint was pulling Scarecrow strings and that he was really just being subservient. This issue flips it on its head entirely, and now it looks like Saint is actually working for Scarecrow.
Yeah. And it's interesting as well because like obviously Scarecrow was in the Future State Harley Quinn book, and there he's like, well, he's not Scarecrow, he's Jonathan Crane. He's like given up the mask and everything. So I wonder if maybe that's like going to be seen here where there's like the whole split personality sort of thing.
True. If it's even Crane at all, again, I think they might actually be building up to them taking off the mask and it's someone different under it.
Yeah, it's like a robot or something. It's the Magistrate. It's like the first run Magistrate or something.
Something crazy like that. Hey, speaking of Magistrate, we hear that there's going to be a big benefit for the hero cop in Arkham, Mahoney, who is so clearly Peacekeeper 1.
Oh yeah, well, they even mentioned that like, oh, that cop's going to be there that you want for your trial or something, Simon. Yeah.
Yeah, I was not thinking that we would actually get the origin of Peacekeeper 1, but here we go.
It's really ingrained in this whole story, this whole Magistrate, and I didn't think it would be this ingrained in James Tynan's story. I think he was going to leave hints and stuff.
And because he didn't even write the Future State stuff.
And that Future State Gotham book would deal with most of it, but yeah, he's like going full into it.
Yeah, like the fact that I assume like, oh, he didn't write it, he's not going to do any of it. Oh, he's actually doing a lot of it. Holy shit.
Yeah.
Harley gets a very interesting side story that makes me want to pick up the new Harley book because it's her just trying to be a hero on the streets of Gotham.
Yeah, she tries to stop Stabbo, the stabbing crazy man.
Yep. Who, again, bringing up the fact that she used to be a psychiatrist. Like, hey, I remember you from Arkham. You were actually a pretty chill dude when you were on your meds. Why'd you go off them? And then the cops show up and want to kill this crazy man. And Harley's like, no, it's fine. He just needs to get his meds. So she ends up defending this crazy guy from the police, even though it ends up making her look like more of a supervillain. I'm like, this is good. This is good Harley material.
Very good, yeah. Yeah, and then leaves a note, says like, don't kill me. I just need medicine and rest.
Yeah, that's all I need. They also imply that the reason this guy is so crazy right now, the roots are coming in.
We need to take everything back to the dirt.
And we're introduced to a new villain called the Gardener, which, damn, Jack, that's a bad outfit.
That is, yeah. And they got two plant dogs. And again, hinting at this possible Poison Ivy is now a villain story that was told in that Joker, Joker Warzone book.
Yeah. The Queen Ivy, to which I'm like, okay, she's either working for Queen Ivy, is an opponent of Queen Ivy, or because they're going full force now with Harley and Ivy as a couple, Tynion had to change up his story and replace Poison Ivy with the new villain.
Mm-hmm.
I guess we'll find out for certain. But either way, that looks to be a Harley-centric story within the Batman book.
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah, I never thought, like, man, Harley's a really good sidekick and a really good
when you get someone that actually, like, puts some time into writing them and not making them like what they are in, like, the movies and stuff.
Yeah.
And making her more than Joker's girlfriend.
Yeah, but making her more than just something to sell Hot Topic shirts.
Yeah.
But to actually remember, oh yeah, there's actually an interesting character here, isn't there?
Yeah.
There was that. What else was I missing? Again, I feel like I missed a lot of this. That was basically it, right?
Yeah, and we had the backup Ghostmaker story.
Yeah, which was very fun.
Is a complete like anime inspired.
Oh yeah.
Story, a super spy story of Ghostmaker, the super spy infiltrating the villain's island lair and fighting laser-eyed tigers.
Feels very much like something Tynion probably wanted to write, but DC wouldn't let him.
That's why it's a backup.
That's why it's right down to Ghostmaker actually being shown to be bisexual, which is interesting. Like, hey, Tynion, aren't you bisexual in real life? Yep.
This character is me.
Yeah, basically, I'm like, is this you? Is this your OC? Do not steal, Tynion. Come on.
And then he's gonna fight a bunch of his adversaries, one of which is clearly just King King K. Rool from Donkey Kong.
Yep, total anime East Asian inspired villains, and I'm like, all right, this is clearly testing the waters too. For it's like Ghostmaker Mini. Would people buy Ghostmaker Mini? Because I'll write it if they'll buy it.
If it's like this, I would.
It's very fun. It's totally different than Batman.
Yeah, which it makes total sense.
It's like, what if Batman had more fun?
Yeah.
Is basically what it breaks down to.
Yeah.
Ghostmaker in the Shell. That's pretty good, actually. I like that, actually. That's pretty solid, Ghostmaker in the Shell. I like that. But yeah, so that was Batman for the week, everyone. And it also seems to have a lot going on.
Mm-hmm.
What else was this week, Matt? What else did you read?
Crime Syndicate, issue 2.
Just finished this before we started. I'll probably put it up tomorrow sometime.
Yeah, I enjoyed it.
Yeah, it's fine. There's nothing wrong with it. It does what it does well. There's just not like enough hooks that are grabbing me, as I alluded to earlier. It's hard to feel so much for these evil characters who are shown to have no redeeming qualities whatsoever, where it's like, well, I don't care if your Earth gets destroyed because you guys are assholes.
See, I understand how you could see that, but also I like that there is some stuff that has me rooting for characters, like the whole bit Superwoman has in this book, where you can't help but root for her because she's like, no, I'm sick of these men thinking that because I'm a woman and because I'm from some paradise island that is for them and we are for them. That's not the case at all. Yeah. I'm gonna fucking step on you now. I like that a lot.
I like she uses the word step. She brings up a lot of feet stuff. I'm like, is Superwoman in this world just going full dominatrix now? That's she her thing?
I mean,
fair enough.
First issue, she was like hanging Oliver Queen up and by a lasso and all that. Yeah.
Superwoman, what's her evil plot? She will turn the world into her.
She's literally dressed like a dominatrix as well.
Also that. To which, again, I'm sure if William Milton Marsden and his two, female lovers were alive, they'd be like, fuck yeah. That's literally what we wanted to do from day one, but they wouldn't let us. We had to hide it in all this Greek mythology stuff, but that's what we were into. Good for them. I do like the on-running joke that they keep making reference to comics that you can't read because this is like a book that was written in Earth 3.
It's pretty good, isn't it?
It's a pretty funny joke. I do like I thought I'd be sick of it by issue 2, but it still continues to be a funny joke.
Yeah, no, I like that a lot. And I like as well that I don't know why a lot of people don't seem to realize that Starro does actually seem to be a good guy.
Yeah.
Like because people's like, why is Starro so mad? And it's like, well, it's not. He's like, as we learn in this issue, it's like possessing these heroes because there's a threat coming and it needs like to fight and defend itself from some evil threat.
It's stopping the evil heroes that are ruining the world.
Yeah.
We get a little backup story with Thomas Wayne, the Owlman, who I like. They're like, no, he actually is Bruce's brother in this world, much like he was in the New 52. Mm-hmm. Only they all got murdered in the alley at the request of the Gordon crime family.
Yes, because as we learned, that the Wayne family were on the take, and that's how they made their fortune. And they got greedy and wanted to push the Gordon family out, and ended up killing James Gordon Jr.
I do love the idea of Jim Gordon as a big mafia figure in Earth 3, and Harvey Bullock is his trigger man who murdered the Waynes. Because then I'm like, ooh, what's Barbara like in this world? Is she like a snooky mafia's daughter type in this world?
Absolutely. I'm
fine with that. I hope she has big hair and leopard print pants. And she's like, oh my god, I hope that. I hope that's fun. I'm going to go see my evil circus boyfriend, Dick Grayson. Dad doesn't want us to be together, but I don't care.
And then, Thomas, instead of seeing a bat, sees an owl, which, like, claws out his eye.
That's a nice touch to explain his scars.
And that somehow symbolizes to him that, like, he must become the owl and become justice. And I like that. He does start off as, like, an actual hero.
Yeah, but then only got turned later on.
And I like that the Court of Owls isn't an actual. It's not like Talons and stuff. It's like that's what he calls his version of justice. He's gonna see these criminals in the Court of Owls, which is like him, and not the actual Court of Owls.
Yeah, it's a nice take on the story, that's for sure.
Yeah, and yeah, I like that learning that his family was evil and everything is the thing that like breaks him and
Yeah.
makes him break his rule and kill Bullock.
I'm more interested in that little backup where it's like, yeah, what would have Batman forgo his morals and everything? Be like, oh, my parents were bad people. Everything I know is wrong. Why should I keep a moral code when none of it matters?
And that's exactly what he says. None of it matters, and that's such a nice like sort of like reference to Owlman from Death Metal, where he learns that none of it matters. He'll just be reborn again.
Yeah. Yeah, it's fair. Again, I like the backup more than I like the main story.
They've
Actually,
been
you
pretty
sound like you
good.
liked it a little. Yeah, it's
They've
been
been
all
pretty
right.
good, and yeah, I guess the next one's going to be Wonder Woman.
Yeah, I guess so. Or
The
Superwoman.
Superwoman, and we learned that Diana was actually a person as well in this world.
Yes, we do. Yes, she offhandedly mentions it, which I thought is interesting. Which, yeah, Bruce was a person, Diana was a person.
Yep.
I'm assuming their probably their deaths helped. What is it? Contribute to Earth 3 becoming all fucked up.
Definitely.
Yeah. Was that everything I had this week? Oh no, I had Immortal Hulk.
Ooh, what's happening in that?
So this one is getting very, very close to the end now.
Mm-hmm.
We got 5 issues left before it's all done. Joe Fixit and Big Guy Hulk got trapped in hell in the place below all, and they're like, that's okay, fuck you. The leader who is fused with the devil will just leave like we always do through the green door. And he's like, no you don't. Turns the door red. You're stuck here, and once I complete my unholy circuit, I'll be able to do all the evil stuff that I plan to do. And Jacqueline McGee, who now has the power basically of Gamma Sight, is trying to save Rick Jones and all the other leaders' experiments, even though basically taking their soul out with no body to put it into is bad, and their bodies have actually gotten up and walked away. Again, bring it back to the horror story. They need to find them again. The big twist, though, is that, once everything looks lost and, it looks like they're going to be absorbed, Joe Fixit, who you realize has only ever appeared in human form, transforms in the place below all, but he does not become Gray Hulk. He becomes Red Hulk. And even Big Guy Hulk is like, well, that doesn't make any sense. And it's like, don't worry, go with it. Where meanwhile, back in the real world, he does actually become Gray Hulk, and Gray Hulk is reborn. And I'm like, okay, there's clearly a lot of shit they're going to have to explain in that next time. But yeah, it was pretty solid.
Nice. Yeah, only 5 issues left?
Only 5 left. Oh, and Betty Ross came back too. That was fun.
Oh, that's cool.
Came back as Harpy there. She basically just looks like she's been riding the Staten Island ferry, and this drunk woman keeps talking to her, and she's drinking Peter David brand beer. Nice little Sly Hulk references. I dig it. Also, hey, a reference that didn't get you in trouble for anti-Semitism like the last time they did a sign joke in this.
Yeah.
Yeah, ho ho. Isn't it funny you got David's name right, but you messed up the other one? Hey, wait, doesn't David have a history of getting in trouble himself? Oh. But yeah, Immortal Hulk is great. I cannot believe it's going to end in 5 because it's just been so solid.
Yeah, jeez.
And yeah, that was it. That was every book I read this week.
The only other book I had was US Agent issue 4, the penultimate issue in Christopher Priest's run.
How perfectly timed.
Yeah. It actually did come out this week, which was very good. This one kind of gave us a little bit of backstory on the new US agent April Manning, the Saint, as what he's called, and we learned that like he might have been trained by Maury, which is John Walker's new Asian partner. This Asian guy who we don't really know who he is, but he says he was just a pizza guy, but he's a bit more than that.
Yeah, we see how he fights and everything.
Yeah. And we learned that April was trained by him in like a really brutal way where like he had to like murder all his friends and then like all these people that like came and tried to kill him, and he was like the last man standing sort of thing. And we learned a little bit more about how he became US agent, which is that he basically bought the role, like paid for it. Paid for a senator to sort of like grease the wheels of what needed to be greased and give him the role, because as we learn, he's dying and there is something hidden in Ephraim under the shield base there that can help him. And we learn that thing at the end is some kaiju.
Oh
which
shit.
kind of upended the whole thing. It was like the series up until now has been pretty grounded. It's been John Walker
Very.
fighting like for like a mining town and everything, and then there's suddenly a fucking kaiju.
Right on.
But yeah, no, it was pretty cool seeing his backstory, but there's a little bit like left in the dark. So you're like, oh, you're not really too sure about this guy, but you do learn a little bit more about his attitude, and that is that like he hates when people force their version of America on people. He's very, as Kate Walker says, he very much sounds like her brother John, where he's very for America, but like he hates. There's that corruption where like he bought the role basically,
right?
And he's thinks he's all American and everything, where he's really not, and yeah,
right.
It's
The myth of the self-made man.
Yeah,
you know, I pulled myself up by my bootstraps. No, you didn't. You had a bunch of money and bought the identity.
Yeah. One thing I really like as well is like no one here is off limits for priests, whereas like he's tackling that whole sort of like right wing stuff with like that people seem to assume is with John Walker, when really it's not. It's
more complicated.
Yeah, and he's also doing some like really hardcore left wing stuff and like critiquing that with like Kate's sister, where she seemingly hates the people of Ephraim just because they're like Hicks, and because and she assumes because they're Hicks, oh, they, you know, they're Republican, they're, you know, they like guns and Jesus, so they're evil.
And the what about middle America? What about the Rust Belt?
Yeah,
the economic anxiety, all that
yeah,
stuff.
I like that he's tackling all that, like nothing's off limits for him and he can explore all that sort of stuff, and it's not just one note.
Which again, for a writer like Priest, who is a priest himself, again, he always has an interesting take on stuff.
Yeah, and yeah, we find out obviously that the new US agent is like injecting himself with this serum that he only uses like for like an hour at a time, and it like bulks him up, and then he shrinks back down to like a little man, little unassuming man, and he has to keep juicing himself to fight like Lamar and John and everything, and yeah, it's pretty cool.
Because in America, we also love performance enhancers.
Yeah.
Hey, we get our way to greatness, even if we have to do it chemically. Look at every baseball player. Look at what is it? Live Strong bracelets and everything else.
Yeah, and yeah, the issue ends with John being attacked by like a kaiju, which kind of threw me for a loop. I'm like, oh, really, a kaiju now on the final issue?
Sure, why not?
Yeah, I'm intrigued to see, because the April, he's dying and he needs like some sort of mutagen from the kaiju to help him live or survive, whatever. We're not told what he's being killed by. He just says he's dying, so I'm guessing it's cancer or something.
Hey, is it American kaiju from what is it, that New Avengers book?
I don't think cool. It doesn't have like the American flag. It's like blue. And
that's a shame.
Yeah, I think it's just like a random kaiju that like Shield had or something. I know. I would have liked it. Would have been on brand if it was American kaiju.
America, just a big Godzilla ripoff that shouts patriotic phrases. That's good stuff. So yeah, is that it, Matt? Is that the show for this week?
That's it. Yeah.
That's the show for this week, everyone. Thank you so much for coming and hanging out with us, everyone. We always appreciate it. I promise this time I'm going to actually upload the show on Wednesday like I was supposed to, and not just totally friggin', short out my brain. You know what it was? It was because I had like a big Thanksgiving dinner and or Easter dinner and went to like a food coma for a day. That's
yeah.
I totally forgot, and I'm like, there's something I was supposed to do today. Nope, not coming back. Not coming to me. But yeah, thank you everyone for coming and hanging out. We appreciate it. As always, if you're a patron, you'll get to listen back to this in video and audio format first before anyone else. Thanks again to Marvin for the kick-ass tattoos. I'm glad they came. Yeah, I'm glad they came right as we covered the finale of King in Black.
Perfect.
If it came next week, that I still would have done this bit, but it wouldn't have hit as hard.
Yeah, perfect.
It's perfect. So thank you all for that, everyone. Again, be sure to check out Matt's stuff on the channel. Be sure to follow us on Twitter and Facebook for updates on what we're doing. Follow me on Instagram. Be sure to use the promo code down there in the bottom to get 10% off your first shipment of Wild Bill soda there. It's a delicious craft soda that helps celebrate the show and helps support us and everything. It's just good stuff.
Good stuff.
Good stuff. And yeah, I guess on that note, everyone, we'll see you, and we'll be back again next week, everyone. Bye bye.
See ya.